All right, good evening. It's Tuesday, December 23rd, Christmas Eve. For weeks we had been hoping for some more interesting weather to kind of change things up. Remember when it was like 3 or 4 weeks in a row of low clouds and fog in the valley and sun in the Sierra? Be careful what we wish for, I suppose, especially for yours truly, because we've got a lot of action-packed weather over the next couple of days, and of course it's coming over a holiday. We've all got plans, we're all trying to get somewhere, celebrate, and just enjoy, but we could be talking about power outages, we could be talking about tree damage, so high winds a prime concern tonight and again tomorrow night into Christmas morning. We're not going to be talking about flooding, so that's good. That forecast has really shifted a lot over the last few days. I know this time last week we were looking at inches of rain for the valley. That didn't pan out, but we got over a foot of rain into say Blue Canyon, over half a foot of rain into Grass Valley, Nevada City. We saw some waterway flooding on the upper rivers in the Sierra. That's no longer a concern, even though we will see more rain over the next couple of days. It's going to come in intense bursts, but there's going to be time in between for all of that rain to run off. So there's some good news there. Yes, it's going to rain again, but I'm not worried about flooding. Snow. Great news for the resorts. Horrible news for anybody that actually needs to get up and over the Sierra summits over the next few days. Snow is really going to put a damper on things over the summits, really starting tomorrow, but Thursday and Friday are the days where I think the snow is going to be most impactful over the mountains and is going to slow things down the most. Also watching the potential for thunderstorms. I don't think that's the biggest part of the forecast over the next couple of days, but a couple of them could sneak into the valley and the foothills, and if we get the right ingredients together, we may get a little bit of rotation. It's not unheard of this time of the year, and this is a particularly strong storm with lots of good, what we call dynamics, lots of energy, lots of twisting motions, lots of, mix of cold and warm air, so that's something we'll look at too. There's a lot to talk about here. This is why I didn't try to jam it into just a 1 or 2 minute social video on my post. But I am watching the Facebook comments. I'm also watching the YouTube comments. Share your questions as they come up, and I will do my best to answer them. But let's start with the satellite picture. Let's start with what's going on right now. It's always a good place. So here's our storm system. It's actually starting to work its way up from the south, but there's some colder air coming in from the north and west meeting up with that. So we've had the moisture for the last few days. Even if it's not raining where you are, you can feel it with just how humid the air is, with how mild it is. Now that we've got some cold air running into it, that's going to make the atmosphere more unstable. It's going to make for a stronger storm, which means more wind. And of course, more cold air will eventually point to more in the way of snow. But that's the overall setup. Let's talk about the winds here. For starters, it hasn't been windy today. We were not expecting it to be all that windy today unless you were in the Sierra. These are the current wind gusts, so winds lasting a second or more, not sustained winds. We've seen some gusts around Truckee and South Lake over 40 miles per hour today, things kind of settling down a little bit. As we go through tonight and tomorrow morning, the focus is really going to be the valley floor and the foothills, the lower foothills. Yuba City now picking up on a wind gust of 28 miles per hour. We're gusting to 23 miles per hour in Placerville. But there's 2 time frames that we're really going to be watching here. That's going to be midnight to 6 a.m. overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning, and then we'll get a second round tomorrow evening lasting through Thursday morning. Of course, that's a big time period for a lot of people. That is Christmas Eve, maybe lots of people going out for Christmas Eve dinner or Christmas Eve Mass, and it takes us right into Christmas morning. Anytime we start getting wind gusts over 45 miles per hour, especially if it's going to last for a few hours, that's where we start getting nervous about some isolated tree damage, especially some of those weaker tree limbs like valley oaks, trees like that just kind of dry out during the summer months. Once we start getting wind gusts close to 60 miles per hour, which is a possibility, especially for the east side of the valley and the foothills, Wednesday night into Thursday, this is where we get worried about entire trees coming down, power poles coming down, and outages becoming even more widespread. So the numbers that you see here again are for the valley and for the lower foothills. We can get more specific here in just a minute, but my message to people earlier today on TV was, if you wake up tomorrow morning at say 7 or 8 a.m., you're not going to notice the wind because it's all going to be overnight. And if you still have power once the sun comes up tomorrow, your power's going to stay on all day tomorrow. Use that to get ready for that second round of wind that's coming up Wednesday night into Thursday. I am more worried about that second round. Number one, because it's round two, it's closely following one round of gusty winds, which could weaken some of those tree limbs, weaken some of those power poles, and then it's kind of the 1-2 punch where that second punch is what actually does more in the way of damage. So that's something to be concerned about for Christmas morning. We don't want to talk about losing power on Christmas Day. That would be a real bummer for a lot of people. I know lots of kids get up, they want to open their presents, they want to enjoy. It'd be easier to do so if the lights would stay on. But yeah, the winds Wednesday night into Thursday morning really could be a problem, especially getting up into the foothills and over towards the east side of the valley. Once we get to Thursday afternoon, it'll still be breezy, but through Friday, even as the rain and snow continues, the wind will not threaten damage at that point. But a couple of big bumps in the road there as far as the winds go. Got a couple of questions on Facebook now. Sam is asking if the pressure in the system dropped enough to make it a bomb cyclone. Yeah, I've seen that phrase getting thrown around again on social media. So there is a technical definition. A bomb cyclone is an area of low pressure where the central pressure, the lowest pressure at the middle of the system, drops more than 24 millibars within 24 hours. I'm going to be perfectly honest, I have not paid attention to that because, to me, that's not the important part of what's going on here. What's characteristic of a bomb cyclone type of storm? It's rapidly strengthening winds, which is what we're going to see. It is rounds of heavy rain. If there's enough cold air, it's heavy snow. So we're talking about the impacts here. Yeah, I know that's a social media term that's getting thrown around, but yeah, I'll be honest, Sam, I haven't looked. I don't know if I will. I've got a lot of other stuff still going on here. Craig and Mike are also checking in on my Facebook page. Justin is checking in on YouTube. Annie Oakley 1363 on YouTube said, it's supposed to be raining all week. We're just now getting sprinkles in the Central Valley. I think there was some confusion there. So yeah, a couple of days ago, we were very forthright and said we did not see as much rain in the valley as we were expecting to. But we were never calling for 7 days straight of rainfall. In fact, since last week, we were calling for today to be the quiet day, and that's exactly how it worked out. So yeah, valley rainfall numbers were underwhelming. I think most people overall can appreciate that that means the flooding wasn't a concern, so it's a good thing. But we have more rain, more snow, and now wind to get through. So, the week is not over. We've still got a lot of busy weather to talk about. Annie Oakley, I hope you stay with us there. KSN324 on YouTube. Why do the valleys of Sacramento have high wind warnings, but not the valleys in the Bay Area? Well, all right. We'll start from the top and work our way down. So the National Weather Service offices are the ones that issue any kind of weather alert, whether it's wind advisories, winter storm warnings, flood watches, tornado warnings, all that. That's done by the National Weather Service. We on TV and on our online platforms, we're just kind of the mouthpiece that shares that information. So the office in Sacramento is who issues the alerts for the Sacramento Valley and the surrounding foothills. The office in San Francisco is who issues the warnings for the Bay Area. So they may have slightly different criterion, they may have different standards, but also, along the Bay Area, the higher winds are going to be on those hilltops. You get into some of those protected valleys, the winds may not be quite as strong. So that could also be part of what they were looking at. But I'll be perfectly honest, I've been really focused on the Central Valley and the foothills. Haven't looked too closely at the Bay Area, but I do know the winds are really going to be howling along the coastal areas. So that's something we'll be kind of looking out for there as well. Vicki says she's worried about the wind in Oakdale. I do think it's going to be windy on the eastern side of the valley the next couple of mornings, Vicki. Round 2 on Christmas morning is probably going to be a little bit stronger than what we see tonight. Hopefully you're able to, hopefully your power stays on tonight. If it does stay on tonight, you're good through tomorrow. And then hopefully we get through round 2. But yeah, once we get through these 2 rounds of wind over the next couple of nights, it will get better. Stuart says he only got 0.64 inches of rain so far in Elk Grove. Yeah, the valley rainfall has been underwhelming, but we've had lots in the foothills, which is somewhat good. Caitlin is asking about El Nino, La Nina, or neutral. We've been in a weak La Nina pattern for the last couple of months, and we're headed towards a neutral phase. El Nino and La Nina play a role in governing our weather patterns, especially in the winter, but they're not the only thing that play a role, but still worth paying attention to. All right, so we talked a little bit about the winds. 2 rounds of that coming, one late tonight and tomorrow morning, one that's going to last a bit longer Wednesday evening, Wednesday night, into the first part of the day on Christmas, the first half of the day there. Let's move on to some other stuff here. Let's talk about any rain and snow timing. For that, we'll go to Futurecast. This is our in-house model. It does a pretty good job. I've been relatively happy with it the last couple of days. So here's midnight tonight. Hit and miss showers. Maybe we start to get a little precipitation going on the west slope of the Sierra, but we're not in chain controls yet. This is when the wind is going to start to pick up in the valley. Get some rain and some gusty winds overnight, but this is 6 o'clock Wednesday. There is going to be a lot of dry time for the valley tomorrow. I want to emphasize that tomorrow is not a washout. It's going to be a breezy day. We're going to get wind overnight. But most of tomorrow in the valley, relatively tranquil. More activity, though, for the west slope of the Sierra. If you're going to try and get over Donner or Echo Summit or Carson Pass tomorrow, expect chain controls, expect delays. It's doable, but it is going to be slow. What I'm going to be watching for tomorrow is this. This is clearing on the west side of the valley and into the Bay Area. Clearing when we've got colder air overhead and milder air down below. That's instability. And that could set off a couple of thunderstorms as we get into the afternoon. This particular model is not showing much during the day. But as we get into the later evening hours, these could be some embedded stronger thunderstorms Wednesday night. There could be some very heavy rain. There could be thunder and lightning as these come through. And if we get the right, call it dynamics, the right energy in the atmosphere, there could be a little bit of rotation with some of these cells as well. Rotation that could lead to a brief tornado. I can't emphasize this enough. That is not the big headline of what we're expecting over the next couple of days, but it's something that we're going to be watching for very carefully. It would be very isolated. It would not last for long. But again, it's just kind of another layer of what we're going to be watching with this storm. So here's overnight Wednesday into Thursday. Remember, the wind is kicking up again. This is when Santa and his reindeer are going to be trying to fly through Northern California. Ooh, Rudolph's going to be working overtime here. Here's 6 o'clock Thursday morning. Anybody that's watching with little kids, little grandkids, nieces and nephews that are staying with you for Christmas, if they're not getting you up early, the weather might. High winds here. This is 6 o'clock Thursday morning. Another band of that heavy rain, but look how heavy it's raining into the foothills. And there's your heavy snow in the Sierra. By this point, Thursday morning, it's snowing hard at lake level in Tahoe. So, yep, white Christmas for Tahoe. Check. Got it. But then that snow kind of continues on and off throughout the day, and it's going to keep things kind of gnarly, trying to get up and over the summits anywhere above 5,000 feet in the Sierra. That's on Thursday. These could be more of these scattered thunderstorms, so we could be watching for more of that as we go through Christmas Day. This is a line of some very strong winds coming through Thursday afternoon. Once that's through, once we get to like dinner time on Thursday, I think we'll be out of the wind. But notice we are not out of the snow at this point. As each one of those bands of rain feeds up into the Sierra, it just goes up above 5,000 feet and just turns into this burst of snow. I love watching it happen on radar. I would not want to watch it happen from the roads. That's where you get, you know, as that heavy line moves up, you get these giant fat snowflakes. It's cool to see, but again, not very cool to be driving in. We're going to be seeing some of that as we go through Thursday into Friday as well. Second half of the day on Thursday should be quieter than the first half as far as the winds go. We'll continue to see some of these showers. And then here's Friday morning. It's showery. The winds will be lighter on Friday, but there you see the snow is still going. This is going to be one of those patterns where, you know, trying to time out the rain, it's honestly not doable. Because these bands are going to be coming so frequently. There's going to be a burst of rain and then it's going to stop. What I can tell you with some certainty is that a lot of places are going to see lots of dry time tomorrow. But Thursday and Friday are going to be more unsettled. That is, we're going to see these waves of rain coming through more often. And wind is a factor too as we go through the day on Thursday. So a couple of days where we're going to keep things on our toes here. So if you've got specific questions about a specific time period, I think I can more easily and succinctly tell you what it's going to be like then, but just trying to run through everything over a few days, I mean, it feels like I just kind of talked at you for a few minutes there, and I think I kind of did. So let's flip through some of these questions here. Jaden, whoops, sorry, Jaden, lost your question. Jaden on Facebook is saying, is the west side of the valley spared from the 50+ mile/per-hour gust tonight in Christmas? So Jaden, I'm assuming you're asking about the Vacaville area. I know Jaden's in Solano County. Yeah, I don't think winds are going to be as high on the west side of the valley. So when we talk about a north wind, the focus is always on the west side of the Sacramento Valley, but now we're talking about a south wind, so the focus is going to be on the east side of the valley. Why is that? It's just because of how California's topography kind of shapes wind flows. A north wind always favors the west side of the valley for the stronger gusts. A south wind always favors the east side of the valley and into the foothills. It's just a general rule, so it'll get windy in Solano County. I doubt we'll see, damaging winds in a spot like Vacaville or Fairfield. That's more likely between I-5 and Highway 49 on the east side of the valley. Todd is saying, just started raining here in Forest Hill at 6:45. There's some light rain picking up this evening. Saying his app shows stronger winds tonight, faster at 4 a.m. Yeah, the early morning hours are where we're going to see the strongest wind. And Craig is saying, so is it just going to be windy on both days with hit and miss heavy rainfall for the greater part of Sacramento County? So the strongest winds for Sacramento County are overnight tonight and then later tomorrow evening into Thursday morning. So yeah, mostly overnight with the wind timing there. And then, yeah, Craig, the rule for rain in Sacramento is that most of tomorrow is dry, but as we get into Thursday and Friday, it's just kind of continuous hit and miss rain throughout the rest of the day there. So just a couple of days where if you're going to be out, you need the rain jacket, you want the waterproof shoes, maybe have the umbrella on hand, because there's going to be minutes where you need it and minutes where you don't. It's going to be one of those. Alright, nothing new on YouTube. And Justin Randall on YouTube says, I hate these types of storms and damaging winds. Come back to haunt me when we get into a situation like this. Yeah, Justin, I understand that there's lots of people that really don't like high winds. It's an intense situation. It's loud. It's chaotic. I get it. And, there's the uncertainty of what could happen. Will we lose power? Will we not? But that's why we tell you about it ahead of time. So hopefully people can prepare. If you are a person who's uncomfortable with wind, hopefully you can make some arrangements. Maybe try to get to bed early so you can try to get at least a few hours of good sleep before that comes up. But yeah. I sympathize with people who don't like high winds, as someone who, I used to be scared of thunderstorms when I was a kid, so I get it. Same reason. It's loud, it's chaotic, kind of scary. Lisa is saying Merry Christmas. Thanks, Lisa. Merry Christmas to you, too. Just checking in on some of the other Facebook comment. Yeah, Connie's asking about potential tornadoes in the valley. Is that possible? Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No. Out of the things that I am watching for the weather over the next couple of days, it's going to be the widespread winds that we will see over the next couple of nights. It's the snow that we'll see in the Sierra. It's the rain that's going to be a nuisance for a lot of us, especially if you have to drive somewhere. The risk for any severe thunderstorms is low. It's not zero, but we know all it takes is one for our coverage to really change. There's going to be some rotation in the atmosphere as we go through the next couple of days. If we get enough sunshine, we may get enough instability for a couple thunderstorms to pop up, but it is not a widespread concern. It's not something that I would go worrying about if I were you. If I was going about my day, it's not something I would be worried about. It's something that I will be monitoring carefully. But yeah, I think there have been a couple of headlines about, Christmas tornadoes. It's not the headline. Could it happen? Yes. Are we talking about it? Yes. Is it the biggest thing? I don't think so. I think far more people are going to be impacted by the widespread winds that we see over the next couple of nights. So, don't let the buzzy headlines and all that get you too worried. There is a lot going on. But I'm hoping to help sort through what's most important and what I think is going to affect you the most. Christy is asking about Hidden Valley Lake wind gusts tonight. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I got to look up your location. I haven't been there before. Just want to get your elevation, make sure I'm answering your question as correctly as I can. All right, so Hidden Valley Lake is up in Lake County. Yeah, it is going to be windy up that way tonight. Just double check. So there is a high wind warning for Lake County. That's from the National Weather Service. Yeah, Hidden Valley Lake, just because of your elevation, you're up in the hills there, that's going to be a windier spot. We could see some wind gusts up over 45 miles per hour tonight. By the time we get to, say, 8, 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, the winds will settle down at least a little bit, but that next round comes in tomorrow evening. So who just asked that question? Christy. Yeah, Christy, your winds tonight will be just strong enough that we could see some tree limb issues. Hopefully not too many widespread power issues, but then we'll be watching for that second round tomorrow night. So, Christy, nothing too bad tonight, but I think you'll be hearing the wind early tomorrow morning if you are a light sleeper. Randy says, "Welcome to winter in NorCal." Yeah, no kidding. Christy, you're welcome. Estrella, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, says we're traveling tomorrow around 10 a.m. from Chico to Medford, Oregon. So if you're going around 10 a.m. Estrella, you'll at least miss the worst of the winds. You're going to wake up to some strong winds up there in Chico. I'm just taking Futurecast out here to tomorrow morning. So this at least gets the start of your journey here. This is 11:30 in the morning. There will be some showers from Butte County northward. I don't know that it's going to be pouring rain the entire time, but you may encounter some snow as you go up and over the pass there on I-5 up near Shasta. So I would be prepared for potentially some chain controls going over that pass there on I-5 headed up towards Oregon. And just some rain showers. It's going to be a doable drive, but you're going to need the windshield wipers. You're going to need to take it slow at times. But I hope you get there safe. Hope wherever you're going for fun, and you enjoy. Janet's asking about Davis. Winds in Davis tonight will be gusting around 40 miles per hour. Davis on the west side of the valley, so the wind's not quite as intense as what we'll see, say, in eastern Sacramento County. But it will be breezy in Davis. You will certainly notice that. Okay. So we've talked about the rain and snow timing. Let's talk about snow. I'm a skier. My husband's a snowboarder. We are itching for some good powder up in the Sierra, and I think we're finally going to get it later this week. We've been talking about this since last week, so it's nice to finally see it coming to fruition, but give it time. Mainly dry tonight. Snow level still up around 8,000 feet, but tomorrow snow level's down to 6,500 feet. If you are not familiar with passes, when we say pass level, Donner Summit's around 7,200 feet or so. Lake Tahoe is at about 6,200 feet. So this snow level means we're getting accumulating snow over Donner and Echo Summit. We are not getting, well, we're not getting nice accumulating snow in South Lake Tahoe and Truckee. Let's put it that way. We may get some sloppy snowflakes that hit the ground there in Tahoe at 6,500 feet, but it's not going to be piling up nicely. So I would expect chain controls. It is going to be windy over the Sierra summits. Slow going if you're going above King Vale, but if you're going between, say, Pollock Pines and Cisco Grove, if you're going between Colfax and maybe up to King Vale, it's just rain tomorrow. But Thursday and Friday, that's where the snow level really starts to drop. Thursday we'll have snow and likely chain controls from King Vale on up on 80. That means longer delays. It's going to take even longer to get over the summits, hours. I've been in conditions like that before. It's not fun. If you don't have to travel on Thursday or Friday, I would recommend you don't. I think the heaviest snow rates are going to be on Thursday. The snow level is lower on Friday, but the snowfall rates will be dropping off by this point. Still, chain control is likely all 3 of these days, starting tomorrow. I think Thursday is the day where if we're going to see any kind of closures, it's going to be Thursday. That's where we could see, 1 to 2 inches of snow per hour. That's the kind of stuff that really slows things down, and that Caltrans, as much as they try, you can't keep up with that with the snowplow. I used to live in Western New York. I spent a few winters there, and they used to tell us, if the snow is between 2 and 3 inches an hour, there's only so much the plow can do. Because if the plow is going through every 30 minutes, well, if you're getting 2 to 3 inches of snow an hour, guess what? You're getting 1 to 2 inches of snow every time, right after the plow passes through. So just hard to keep up with that. So Thursday, definitely a day to stay off the roads above 6,000 feet. Friday, it's going to be really slow going even as the snowfall rates drop down, but the weekend is looking much quieter. So that's going to be good for resorts. I'm sure their operators, their snow staff, they're going to be on full blast as we go through Thursday and Friday, trying to get all the snow where they need it so that they can open up and be ready for skiing and riding on Saturday and Sunday. But these are the final numbers. I like that I haven't had to change this number very much. Feet of snow for Donner Summit, like several feet. Remember, this is accumulating over several days, so it's going to take time. If you don't see 4 feet up there tomorrow when we're showing you things, don't get mad at me. This is through Friday. Echo Summit, we typically see lower amounts, but even there, some healthy snowfall numbers. Carson Pass, of course, higher than Donner and Echo Summit, so we see higher numbers. Lake Tahoe, lake level, 1 to 2 feet of snow, most of that coming Thursday and Friday. So there's your white Christmas. And as long as that snow level drops down just below 5,000 feet, I think we'll see some good sloppy accumulations there in Blue Canyon. 12 to 18 inches of snow there on the highway at Blue Canyon. So yeah, that's some good snow, and we need it. Our snowpack is in sorry shape, especially after all the rain. I mean, the rain in its own way is good. A lot of it's running off into our reservoirs. Actually, that reminds me, let's take a little sidetrack here. I was checking on some of these numbers yesterday. The inflows into some of the reservoirs, they were aggressive yesterday. So this is the California Data Exchange Center. It's the page I look when I need just basic quick information on how our reservoirs are doing. So the blue bar represents how high the water levels are in different reservoirs. This is Shasta here, this is Oroville, Folsom, Comanche, New Melones, New Bullards Bar, it's up here. So Shasta right now is at 63% of capacity. That's about where it should be this time of the year. All these numbers that you see, the capacity-wise, this is where reservoirs should be. So Shasta right now is at 63% capacity. Let's see where it was on Friday. Okay, so it's come up by about 4%. Oroville was at 51% on Friday. It's now up to 58%, so it's come up 7%. Folsom is now at 50%. Call it half full. And on Friday it was 48%, so still waiting for some of that runoff data to come in. I also want to keep in mind it is a holiday. That's a Department of Water Resource website. The data may not be updating as regularly during a holiday week, but nice to see the numbers on the reservoirs going up. And another number I wanted to point out here, this number at the top, this is reservoir inflow. So this is for Lake Oroville. This is 60,379 cubic feet of water per second. That's how much is flowing into Lake Oroville today. For reference, 1 cubic foot is about the size of a regulation basketball. So to visualize this, this is basically saying there are 60,000 basketballs worth of water flowing into Lake Oroville every second today. That's pretty cool. It doesn't compare to what we were seeing in like 1997, where it was, I think it was something like 200 to 300,000 cubic feet per second. This is nothing that the water managers and our lakes can't handle. But it is fun to look at that and know that we're putting money into the savings account there. Michael on Facebook is asking what time the winds will begin. Currently near Folsom Lake, there's very little air movement. Yeah, it's been a calm day, and most of this evening is going to be quiet too. I've been telling our people in the newsroom here, I wouldn't expect anything that could even approach damaging winds until at least midnight. And for Folsom, it may take until 2, 3, 4 in the morning. So it's going to take a bit. But if you are an early riser, you'll wake up to that wind tomorrow. If you're able to sleep in, lucky you, you may just sleep past it. Once we get past 7 or 8 a.m., the wind's going to be done for Folsom. So it's kind of a narrow window for this first round for Folsom, but that window is going to be a lot longer Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. Jackie is in Manteca. We've had little rainfall here. What does it look like on Christmas Day for us? Yeah, I know the San Joaquin Valley. I mean, if you've lived there for a while, you know that your rainfall tends to fall well short of what we see in the Sacramento Valley, and part of that is just geography. Right, you've got the mountains over here, and up here into the East Bay that kind of shadow Stockton, Manteca, and Modesto from getting some of that better rain. Let's go look at Christmas Day, and we'll focus on San Joaquin County. So here's 7 a.m. The day may be mainly dry. The better rain farther up to the north, but even for Manteca, it is going to be a windy morning. We'll get some gusts at least 40 to 50 miles per hour going. We may get one good band of rain going through the San Joaquin Valley Thursday afternoon, and that'll put an end to the wind. Once we get to dinner time on Thursday, heaviest of the rain is done, strongest of the winds are done. But Jackie, yeah, you in Manteca, it's not going to be a lot of rain on Christmas Day. There's just going to be a couple of bands of it that come through, but it is going to be a windy day for Manteca as well. I'm thinking you'll pick up maybe a total of a ½ inch of rain by the time we get to Friday, and that's going to be spread out over a couple of days. Duke is saying, I heard maybe thunder and lightning. Yeah, it's a possibility for the valley and the foothills, maybe even the Sierra if we get heavy enough precipitation. Thunder is a possibility just because of how much energy there is with this storm. Patricia, I didn't know that difference for north versus south wind impact on the west side of the valley. Hope the damaging winds don't turn up as forecasted. Yeah, this is always one of those cases where we make those forecasts and we hope we're wrong. We hope we're overstating it. But if the winds align to what we're thinking, we could be waking up to some real problems on Christmas Day for the valley and for the foothills. But, we've got 2 rounds. We'll see what happens tonight into tomorrow morning. That'll tell us something about what's to come for round 2. So we're going to keep you updated there. Just giving a pause here while I check on a few more of the questions.
I didn't hear about that. Well, they didn't get posted. Was it 6 though last night? 7? Yeah. We have to wait for national approval. Okay. Sacramento was at least 300.
All right. Been going for about 30 minutes, so we talked about the wind. That's what starts first tonight. It comes in with some rain. Tomorrow we start getting into chain controls, but we're going to talk about Sierra snow for a few days in a row. Rain is going to be hit and miss. It's not going to cause flooding. So I'd say my primary concern over the next couple of days is the widespread winds for the valley and the foothills. Round 1 tonight, round 2 tomorrow evening through Thursday morning. That's the round that I'm more concerned about. So it's 7:30 this evening. If your trash bins are outside, bring them in. If you've got some Christmas decorations, you've got the inflatables, maybe bring them in for a couple of days. I brought mine in. If you park outside and you can move your car out from under a big tree, do that. If you have to drive somewhere tomorrow, when you come back and get your parking spot tomorrow night, try not to park under a tree. It's going to be one of those stretches. And if you do have a generator, make sure you got gas for it on standby. Make sure you know where your flashlights are. I found mine earlier today. Make sure you know where your lighters are. I found mine earlier today. Just make sure you're ready to go. You don't want to have to find that stuff and scramble around in the dark. But yeah, I think the biggest bummer in all of this, I mean, the rain's great, the snow's great, the wind is not, the timing is not. Kind of reminds me of a few years ago when the power went out on New Year's Eve. It's just kind of a bummer. So again, the winds, they look nasty, especially Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. But we will keep you updated. If anything changes, we will let you know. KCRA.com. I will be here tomorrow night as well, if time permits, which it should. I can jump on for another Facebook Live. We'll recap what happens tonight, and we'll look ahead to what's coming tomorrow and Thursday. But Merry Christmas Eve. You're celebrating Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. And happy holidays. I hope you're enjoying. I hope you're all staying safe. And hopefully you found this helpful.